Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala anbiya'il mursalin. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad fatih lima khuliq wal qatil lima sabaq nasrul haq bihaq wa hadi ila siratal mustaqim wa ala alihi aqdaril azim. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh everyone. May peace be upon you wherever you are, together with your family in this difficult situation. May Allah ease our affairs. Alhamdulillah, today we wish you Ramadan Mubarak and Jumu'ah Mubarak, a double blessings for us. And what a way to start our Ramadan in Singapore in this morning, a blessed day. We have a blessed guest from California, uh, Sheikh Feraidoon Mojadedi. And he's going to talk about Mawlana Rumi, a spiritual view on coronal pandemic. And it's going to be a very interesting lecture, which we can learn about how Mawlana Rumi would view the spiritual situation that we are in. A bit about Sheikh Feraidoon Mojadedi is one of the most well-known and respected community leaders, lecturers, and entrepreneurs in the Bay Area, California. He was born in Herat, Afghanistan, and migrated with his family to America during the Russian invasion of Afghanistan in 1985. After graduating from American High School and Chabot College, he attended San Francisco State University, where he majored in history. He grew up in a household with a deep love and reverence for poetry, mashallah. At the age of 5, he had begun to memorize poems by Mawlana Rumi and other great poets. His love of poetry continued to grow and eventually develop into a passion and calling that would allow him to teach regular classes on Rumi throughout California, throughout US, Canada, Australia, Malaysia, Germany, and even as far as Konya, Turkey, where Mawlana Rumi is laid to rest. The nuances of the Farsi language in which he is fluent allows him the unique ability to bring Rumi poetry to life and to help listeners recognize Rumi's essential message of peace, love, coexistence, and connection with the divine. Ustaz Feraidoon spends his free time reading, studying, and learning and lecturing on many topics, including Rumi and a wide collection of Farsi collection, spirituality, and self-development. Right, and he also does the Laila and Majnun theatre works, mashallah. And currently he lives with his wife and 2 children in Dublin, California. I think without further ado, we'd like to welcome Sheikh to our online stage now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, brother Khalid?
Walaikum salam, Sheikh. Good, alhamdulillah. We are blessed to meet you now. And
alhamdulillah, blessed to finally connect after many years.
Yes, mashallah. It's such an honor and blessing to host you on our platform. And we hope that many will benefit from you. Okay? So I think we don't want to delay, and everyone is waiting to hear your lecture and your advice and wisdom. So Bismillah, Sheikh.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. First of all, we have been trying to connect with, to go to Singapore. And I know last time when I was going to Australia for Layla Majnun play, I wanted to stop by, but we couldn't. The visa issues and all that with the process was longer, so we couldn't connect. But inshallah, we were planning to connect in 2020, and then the pandemic happened, and so we got social isolation. But alhamdulillah, Allah has brought us back here together on this platform. So Rumi, one thing that Rumi said, he said, Gardar Yamani Chubomani Pishamani. He said, if you're in Yemen, but your heart is with me, you're with me. Gar Pishimani Chubimani Dar Yamani. But if you're sitting right next to me, but your heart is in Yemen, then in reality, you're in Yemen, you're not here. So inshallah, may Allah connect our hearts together during this pandemic time, that we are more together, even though we are far away from each other physically, but inshallah, spiritually, and our hearts are connected together. The topic that you selected, Mawlana Rumi's view on pandemic. In reality, pandemics, For some places in the world, it's another day in their village, it's another day in their office, and another day in their lives. People who are suffering from chronic diseases, people who are suffering from cancer, who have to go to the hospital and get treatment on a daily and weekly basis, blood transfusions, and on and on. So but this is a universal. We always have the particular where people are going through this and experiencing this, not just for a day or a week or a month or a year, but some people for a lifetime or 10, 20 years. They're in this sicknesses that they struggle with. But one thing about if you look at Mawlana Rumi's life, he was a free man until age 38. He was so free that nothing could stop him. He had so many followers. He was a superstar in Konya, the capital of Seljuk Empire. The kings used to come to him, and he just had the life. And he was the most brilliant mind. He was sharp intellect and understanding of this, not only the religion, the deen, but also of the sciences of his time, whether it was logic or falsafa, or mathematics and poetry, and you name it. He was a master of every science of his time. He was a genius of his time. And then at age 38, he met Shamsuddin Tabrizi. Now, Shamsuddin Tabrizi came into his life and literally changed his life and made him from being this free man into a person. He put him in a quarantine. So he experienced quarantine, but it was voluntary quarantine because he wanted to do that. So almost for 2 years, Mawlana Rumi went through a quarantine where he was in the room by himself with Shamsuddin Tabrizi. They were just together in this and exchanging ideas and learning and benefiting spiritually and mentally from this great master, Shamsuddin Tabrizi. So the journey of life is about what? What is the journey of this life on this world? It's for us to find our companion, right? Everybody wants to find their beloved. Everybody wants to find their Layla. Everybody wants to find someone that they are actually that they can keep the company of. So Mawlana Rumi, he found him. He found Shamsuddin Tabrizi. Shams came to him and they were together and he found him. And then he voluntarily quarantined himself for almost 2 years to be with this man and abandoned everyone, abandoned the entire, all the students, the fame, the glory, the classes, and everything that he had, because he knew that the journey of life, the purpose, one of the primary purpose is to find the companionship, that you become worthy of the companionship. All of the knowledges that we learn is in order for us to become worthy of the companionship of the one, right? That comes and changes our life, that comes and gives water to our soul, to the dying soul of the human being. So what happened then, one of the things that Shams did to Rumi was he taught him during these 2 years, how to find himself. He took him on a journey, because there's two travels. One is on afaq, one is anfus. One is travel in the world, one is travel in the universe inside of yourself. So he taught him about both. Because the travel in the world is important if you can see the signs. This is very important. If you can't see the sign, then you're not really a traveler. This is why the Quran says, go travel and see the signs of God when you travel. Ibn al-Habib said in the Diwan of Ibn al-Habib, it says, إِنَّمَا الْكَوْنُ مَعَانٍ قَائِمَةٌ بِالصُّوَرِ كُلُّ مَنْ يُدْرِكُ هَذَا كَانَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِبَرِ. He said, everything in God's existence, they're all meanings set up in images. So you see the image of the moon, image of the sun, image of the tree, and the shadow, right? These are all meanings that are set up in images, the flower and the roses and the waterfall. But the one who sees the meaning in the form, they are the people of discernment. They got it. If you see the meaning in the form, you got it. But if you're traveling through the world and you look at it and you never reflect it, give an example. Have you ever reflected why we only see one side of the moon? Nobody has ever seen the other side of the moon. The moon renews itself, and every time we see only one side of it. We don't see the other side. That is something to make sure reflect upon. Why don't we see the other side of the moon? What is, because the meaning that is carrying the moon, everything in the world is like that. You see half, you don't see the other half. This is why you have to wait until the Yawm al-Qiyamah in order for your destiny to make sense to you. Because you don't see the other side. You see only the one side of the moon. You don't see the other side of the moon. And you are the moon. And most of us, we only see one side of ourselves. It's like having a coin and never look at the other side of it. So now Rumi says, in order to, once you see the images, and these images, the meanings comes to you, then it is then, this is why Mawlana said, reminded us, he said, Dar khar bibin gulra birun hamakas bina. That see the rose and the thorn. This is the vision, to see the rose and the thorn. He said, because when it blooms, everybody sees it. You don't want to wait till you die. And then you say, oh my God, it's all true. Ya waylana. This is what they say, Surah Al-Yasin. What the Prophet, what the Rahman was saying was true. What the Quran was saying was true. What the prophets were warning us was true. You don't want to get that in the grave. You want to get it now. Mutu qabla an tamutu, die before you die. What does that mean? Means look at the meanings of these things, because when you die from your nafs and your ego and your desires, it is then that you will look at things with a pure eye, with a pure heart, with the inner eye, that you would see the rose and the thorn. And this is what a Muslim is supposed to be, to see potential, to see beauty, to see ihsan and everything, because Allah says that my rahmah wa rahmati wasi'at kulli shay. My mercy encompasses everything. So that means everything is beautiful. Everything is meaningful. There's nothing meaningless in the world. One of the great Iranian philosophers said, even the word meaningless has a meaning. It's meaningless. Even the word meaningless has a meaning. It is meaningless. So there's nothing meaningless in the word, in this entire existence. So to see that and to go through life and see all of these meaning. Once you see those meaning, then it's the travel in the inward reality of yourself, to find yourself, to find your companion, which is you. The greatest companions you can find in yourself. This is why awliya were never alone. The saints, they never felt lonely, because they found themselves, and within themselves there's a mudgha. The Prophet said, in the mudgha, in this piece of flesh, is the qalb, is the heart of the human being. And in the heart of the human being, the light of God resides there. So you have the light of Allah inside of you. Once you find yourself, you are so illuminated. You are so illuminated that you would never feel lonely, because words will be flowing from all around. You start hearing the echoes of your own soul, which is so beautiful. You start hearing the echoes of the song of life that is singing inside of you, the singing of your heart, the singing of your ruh, the singing of your sir, the singing of your khafi, all of your mysteries. You can start hearing the song of the existence, because all of it is inside of you. It is your mystery. But this is why it is important to have this quarantine and these things. So where do they come from? Where do these things, these diseases, these sicknesses, they come from? So according to Mawlana Rumi, he said that nothing comes to the human being physically, mentally, and spiritually unless we allow it to come in and we open the door for it. He said nobody has ever gone to a place physically unless they have gone there spiritually first. And this is a lie when people say, oh, I never thought I would end up in this horrible place, but I did. No, you thought about it so many times. You went there so many times spiritually and mentally. And then you went there physically. Why? Because Rumi said, Andisha joy ravad. One gahtora on jokashad. زندیشه بگذر چون قضا پیشانه شو پیشانه شو. He said your thoughts will go somewhere. Your mind and your imagination will go to places. You allow it to go to places, right? But here's the thing, Rumi warned in this poem. He said those thoughts will come back and they will drag you physically to that place. That's why you have to be careful. What are your thoughts? What are our thoughts? If people think about going to Mecca, in Medina, right? Going to the visit the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, going to visit the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going to the people to go visit Konya, to go visit Istanbul, to go visit Fez, to go visit all of these sacred places in the Muslim world, then you will end up there one day. It will end up because your thoughts and it will come and it will drag you there physically. But if your thoughts are always in a nightclub, if your thoughts are always in the raves and in the places of haram, trust me, Rumi said it will come back and physically will drag you there. And this is why the highest level of taqwa, of consciousness in Islam, is a taqwa of your thoughts. That you control your thoughts, you don't allow it to go to these places. So, pandemics, Rumi said that these things come to an individual and you have to control it. He said if individuals don't control, it will come and it will haunt them. And it will make them sick mentally, physically, and spiritually. He said then if a community is relaxed and allow these thoughts to come in and go everywhere, and because we're susceptible, have these opening, right? If you open the window and it's windy out there, the wind is going to come inside your house, right? And if it's strong, it's going to knock stuff out. Maybe you have a flower or something by the window and it's going to knock it out. It's going to damage your house. Why? Because you opened the window and you let the wind came in when it was a strong wind. If it's raining outside, you open the window, your house is going to get wet. This is the nature of it. And we all have windows. The most dangerous window is not the mouth. It's not the eyes. It's not the ears. People think these are very dangerous. And Rumi talks about this in detail in the Diwan al-Shams and in the Masnawi about the danger of these openings, right? The Quran talks about this because in the Sam' wal Basar wal Fu'ad, that these are, your hearing, your sight, and your thoughts, all of them, right? The eyes, the ears, the heart, the intellect, the tongue, all of them, all of the limbs, Allah saying you're responsible for them. In other words, don't open the doors so it can come in. The devils and shayateen could come in and those whispers could come in. You have to protect it. But that's not the most dangerous entrance to your body. The most dangerous entrance to your body is your heart. And Rumi said, there are little windows between the hearts of human beings, that mysteries travel from one to another. And this is why it's important to keep the companionship of those people who are beautiful, not just inwardly, but inwardly and outwardly, because outward beauty is a manifestation of inward reality. And this is why when you see people who spend their youth, their young age in ibadah and worship of Allah, you will see when they get old, they are illuminated, they're beautiful. Even if their forms are not beautiful, even if they're ugly in their form, where you say, man, there's nothing beautiful about this. If these body parts were on somebody else, we wouldn't say it's beautiful. But why is this man and this woman so beautiful? Because they spend their time in worship of Allah and they become illuminated when they're old, right? And beautiful. So spend time with people who are beautiful in the inside. And that beauty manifests in the outside, right? That beauty, inshallah, will manifest in the outside. So why is that important? Because mysteries travel from one heart to another. And you don't want to be with people that they have ugly mysteries, right? That it will come to your heart and make your heart ugly too. And this is why when a person opens that, they become sick spiritually, mentally. That's why a lot of people have mental problem now, because they hang around with wrong people. The Persian, they have a proverb, they say, if you sit with us, you become one of us. But if you sit with someone who's cleaning dirty pots, you will be, your clothes or yourself, you become dirty, because all the stains will fall, is going to fall on you, just like it's falling on the person who's cleaning those dirty pots, right? So your companionship is very important in our tradition. So and this is why, look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and look at it. What do we call his followers at his time? Sahaba, companions, because it was a companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that turned dirt into gold. Abu Dhar al-Ghifari was dirt before Islam, but the Prophet is the companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that turned him into gold. Umar ibn Khattab was dirt, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam turned him into a diamond. All of these people that you look at their life before Islam, and you look at their life after Islam, it was a companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the chemistry lab. Who you hang with, either they will turn into gold or into zinc. So what do you want to be? Some companionship, they will make you toxic. So now, if you allow this to change your heart and your mind and then it will make you sick, physically, mentally, spiritually. But if a community allows it, then the entire community will get sick. But if societies allows it, right, that we just allow everything to come in, sinfulness, disobedience, injustice. If you look at the world that we're living in right now, right, and I don't like complaining. And my family know I hate complaining, but it's not a complaint. It's just reflection. If you look at the world that we're living at right now, injustice everywhere, right? From families, societies, laws. In America, prison industry is a private industry that they actually make money, $8,000 to $12,000 from each person that goes to prison per year. So then there was a judge in New York that he used to put young black people in prison because because the state is making money from it, and they will get their salary and they will get bribed for just putting kids in prison. These are the type of injustices in some of the great societies where it's like there is law and order. Imagine other places, and look at the wealth distribution right now. The 1% that's controlling 99%. Look at the governments around the world. Look at what's going on in Kashmir. They've been quarantined. They've been in this situation for months, if not years, right? And look at people in Africa. The people are dying in Africa because of lack of water. And look how we use water in our countries. People make wudu, and the faucet is running nonstop. Nonstop is running at the highest level. Like always, my wife always reminds us, make sure the faucet is not running. And that's a consciousness, because we had a drought in California a few years ago. Now we are in our kids, and alhamdulillah, we're more conscious of it. But Muslims, they never waste it. Look at the wastage of food in these countries. Look at how many people are homeless I'm talking about California. And yet look at all these corporations we have in California, Facebook, Google, Tesla, all of these billion-dollar industry right here down the street. And then you have hundreds and if not thousands of homeless in San Francisco and San Jose, and places where they're the headquarters of some of the greatest, the richest companies like Apple is there, and there's homeless. How could they go to sleep when they can't take care of that? When Amazon refused to give some of their employees medical insurance because they were not like full-time, they were like under 38 hours or something. It just doesn't make any sense. And nothing is people. It's not just sinning. It's not just all of these acts of disobedience against God. It's injustice to creation, injustice to the fish, to the Amazon, to the trees that we are destroying, to the Amazon, to the birds, to the ocean. Look at what we are doing to the ocean. If you look, what was going right and what were people doing? Like now in India, for the first time in 3 decades, they can see Himalaya, like the most beautiful nature scene. One of the most beautiful nature scene on the planet. 30 years they couldn't see it, right? Now they see it from miles, from 20, 30, 40 miles away. Why? Because pollution has gone down. There's no rules for pollution anymore, right? If you can pay. So things Rumi saying, when things breaks down at the individual level, you suffer as an individual, either mentally, physically, or spiritually. When things breaks down in the community level like this, injustices and sinfulness and disobedience and being away from God, then the community will suffer. But when societies, when it goes through societies, right, when it becomes universal and everywhere it's happening, then things like this pandemics happen, right? Because it's a wake-up call. And I hope, and I make dua every night after Maghrib, make dua for everyone, not just for my family or my friends or the Muslims, for humanity, that Allah protect us, that Allah removes this coronavirus from all of us, inshallah ta'ala. But I also make dua that Allah makes it a means that we learn something, that we wake up, that we become more merciful, that we become better human beings, more compassionate neighbors. We become more compassionate with our families, with our friends, with our neighbors, with our colleagues, with our employees, with people that we deal with, the animals, with the plants, with the oceans, right? So this cannot go past and we go back to life as it was, like, okay, as though nothing happened. These are wake-up calls. Everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in that. This is part of our aqidah. Rumi said, as hamon ja ke rasad dard, hamon ja's dawa. He said, oh my friend, pain and suffering and healing, all of them come from the same source. So Allah sends the pain, Allah sends the healing, Allah sends the suffering, Allah sends the healing for it as well. The ointment of healing is from Allah as well. So why does he say that? And I'll end with this, inshallah. I want to read something from the beautiful book, Fihi Ma Fihi of Mawlana Rumi. Why pain? Rumi said, Dard ast ke adami ra rahbar ast. He said, because pain in reality is a guide for human being. Pain is your guide. It is your leader. Pain is when you want something, it hurts. You want it so bad it hurts. But sometimes you don't know what you want. Your soul knows what it wants. Your heart knows what it wants. And that's why pain comes, physical and mental and spiritual, in order to wake you up, to rise to that level that you're supposed to be. Not to hibernate, not to be sleepwalking through life. And this is why Rumi said is leadership. This is why so many people in the world, they wanted something so bad that it hurt. It hurted them, and they went and they achieved it. The greatest thing, read all of the stories of the successful people, and they went through pain, not just a pain that they had a headache, but it hurt. They wanted it so much, so bad. Rumi said that har kari ke hast تا او را درد آن کار و هوس و عشق آن کار در درون نخیزد، او قصد آن کار نکند. He said, in whatever it is, until you don't have the pain, the desire, and the love, and the wants for that thing, you're not going to get up and do it. You're not going to go and say, I'm going to do this work. That's the nature of human being, right? And he said that you will not never achieve that. He said, dunya wa akhirat. Whether it's the work of this world, you want to become a CEO, do a startup, make up this, and do whatever it is, the work, or the work of akhirah. You want to become a hafiz of the Quran, you want to become a scholar, you want to do this, you want to do khidmah of the deen, whatever it is, it has to be, you have to have the pain. You have to want it so bad that it hurts, right? He said, or bazirgani wa kha padshahi kha ilm wa kha nujum. He said, doesn't matter whether it's a knowledge of, you want to seek knowledge, you want to seek astronomy, the science of this world, you want to whatever you want to become the king, you want to become the queen, whatever you want to become, you have to have the pain and the desire for it in order to get it, right? And he said, ta Maryam ra dar zeh payda nashod, قصد آن درخت بخت نکرد. Until Maryam alayhi salam, the mother of Jesus, she did not have the pain of childbirth. She did not go to the tree. When she had the pain of the childbirth, it was the pain that guided her towards the tree, right? Guided her. The Quran says, فَأَجَاهَا. That Allah tells him, الْمَخَادُ إِلَى جِزْءٍ نَخْلَةٌ. So just go to the tree, right? Towards the tree. Why Allah saying go to this tree? Because under the tree is a stream of water. And the tree, this barren tree, becomes fruitful of dates. And Allah says, go ahead and touch the tree and shake it, and ripe dates will fall, and water, sweet water is there. All of that from the pain, right? All of that, فَأَجَاءَ الْمَخَاض فَأَجَاءَ الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِزْعِ النَّخْلَةِ. This is all from that. Look at the barakah of this verse. To go to this nakhla, to this tree, and touch it, and ripe dates will come. And there's a stream of water right there for you. Subhanallah. All from what? From the pain of childbirth, right? It was a barren tree. There was no water. All of it came from the pain of childbirth, right? Rumi said, and this is the point to take home from today. Rumi said, Tanham chun Maryam ast. He said, your body is like Maryam alayhi salam. Your body is like Mary, the mother of Jesus alayhi salam. Wa har yake Isai darim. In each and every one of us, we have a Jesus inside of us. Our bodies are like Maryam alayhi salam, and we carry Isa alayhi salam inside of us, each and every one of us. Agar ma ra dard payda shavad. If we have pain, Isa ma bazayad, we will give birth to our Jesus. This is the power of pain, that you will give birth to your Jesus, because Rumi said each and every one of us, we have a Jesus inside of us. But you can't give birth until you go through the pain of childbirth, right? But if you don't get pain, if you don't have that pain, right? عیسی هم از آن راه نهانی که آمد باز به اصل خود بپیوندد. That Jesus, your Isa, your Jesus, will return back from that hidden door that it came inside of you, back to his asl, back to where it come from. إلا ما محروم مانیم و عذوبی بهره. And then we will be the losers. We will be the losers if our Jesus exits from us and leaves us and doesn't come out, because we can't we don't want pain. So in reality, these are times for many people. This is an opportunity of a lifetime that they will be awakened. This whole generation of woke, we're not talking intellectual awakening. We're talking spiritual, intellectual, mental, physical. We're talking about a holistic awakening, right? That you give birth to your Jesus. And there are people who are going through this experience right now, and they're coming out. It's like a snake that gives skin, right? It's you just coming out. It's like the moth, the butterfly. It starts flying, right? It's coming out, and it's painful. But once you start flying, it is then that you see the world through another prism. It's different. It is a different world out there. And then you will see the light of God everywhere. It is then that everything is beautiful, everything is perfect, and you see the wisdom of why things are happening. And then you don't have any question, because that's the maqam of love. The maqam of ishq and love, there's no question. There's no question in that. You're just there. You're just enamored and in awe of the beloved. And silence becomes your teacher, and you become your own guide, because you just gave birth to your Jesus. And we hope that these pandemics and these times, these tough times that we're in, it is difficult times. It is difficult time, right? And you know, like Helen Keller said, that that life is filled, you know, it is full of trials, right? It is, and we know that everybody goes through difficulties and trials and just nonstop. Some people have it. I know I have friends who in family that they are in pain all the time, and they take medicine, but it doesn't work. It's just chronic pain, right? But they get used to it. At one point, is, you know what? It is what it is. What that's what Allah has chosen for me. Like I can't do anything about it. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm making the best out of the situation, right? Making the best. So Helen Keller said the world is filled with suffering, but it's also, right, filled with overcoming of suffering. So there are people who suffer, but there are people who overcome it. We want to be amongst those people who overcome suffering, overcome difficulties and trials, and because we are running to Allah. And when you فَفِرُّ إِلَى Allah, when you run to Allah, there's no hurdle on your way. Everything gets removed. It's like when you go to these doors at the shopping center and they automatically open when you walk in. That's when you run to Allah, everything opens up. But the problem is, most of us, we run from something. We are running from shaitan, we're running from this, we're running from that. We're not running to Allah. But if you change that and we run to Allah, we see opening everywhere, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Sorry if I went over time. If there's any questions or comment or clarification, other than that, we should be good.
MashaAllah, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
Allah yabarak fikum.
It's a profound lecture. It's very interesting, and I'm mesmerized with your Persian saying of Mawlana Rumi.
Allah yabarak
MashaAllah.
fikum.
It's really to hear that, and it's beautiful. MashaAllah.
Allah bless you. Thank you.
Sheikh, we have few questions coming in, but the first question is someone who asking this pandemic situation, and you're talking about Rumi, love, ishq you're mentioning, right? So how do we explain to children about this pandemic, because it's causing discomfort, especially from developing countries?
It's a good question. Great question. Yeah. One of the things that we all have, I think most of us are guilty of it, that we need to teach our children, is to teach them about situation. See, there's certain situation you choose to be in. Like we choose to go to a place, right? We choose to go to a place, but sometimes a place choose us to be there, right? So then you end up in a place, like you go to a gathering, you don't want to be there. You're there and you're stuck there for a day or 2 days or 3 days or 2 hours, whatever it is. What do you do in those times? One of the lessons that Rumi teaches, and many of our masters teach this, is that when you're in a situation that it is beyond your control, you didn't choose it, it chose you. You have to figure out, what is the hikmah behind this? What is the wisdom? Because I know there's a wisdom behind this. You have to believe that Allah doesn't do anything in vain. There's nothing in vain. There's nothing in Allah's creation that is extra. This is why La tabdila li khalqillah. Don't change the creation of Allah. Everything is perfect the way it is. We try to remove the seeds from the watermelons now, right? Seedless watermelon. And now, maybe in 10 years from now, they will tell us how horrible it is for our health, because Allah has put it in there for a reason. There's a hikmah for it. There's a wisdom for it. So in the situation that we're in, whatever situation we're in, we are supposed to figure out, what is the wisdom in it? Why are we put in this situation? Maybe some people are in quarantine with people they don't want to be in. Maybe they're in a house that they don't want to be in. There's a reason Allah put you there. And you have to figure that out. What is it? What is it about? If you're put into a river and you try to swim against the current of the river, you will be the loser. You can't swim against the current of loser. You have to go with the flow. Relax your mind and learn to swim. This is what Sheikh always tells us. Relax your mind and learn to swim. We have to, in these times, we have to relax our mind and say, look, what is the wisdom behind this, right? Allah is trying to teach us something. Why am I here with my family, right? Why am I seeing? Maybe you were supposed to be with them. Maybe you were just getting disconnected. Maybe it is time to bond. Maybe it's time for you to talk to your children, to talk to your spouse, to talk to your family. Maybe it's time to you work on yourself. Maybe you needed that time to stay away from the dunya. There's wisdom in it. And the job of every human being right now is to see that wisdom. There is wisdom for each and every one of us. We have to figure that out. And that takes reflections, that we need to take time off from. Most people, they want to spend more time on watching Netflix and on watching. There's nothing wrong. I'm not against Netflix and I'm not against movies, but everything limits. Everything with limits. Allah loves balance. Spend some time with yourself. Spend some time with people that you actually care, and try to make sense out of this situation. And I'm telling you, if you reflect, every situation Allah puts you through is like a rose. If you are patient, you keep looking, it keeps opening itself. It keeps opening itself until it fully blooms. You say, oh my God, it's a rose. I see it now, right? But a lot of people, they want to get everything in a day. That's not going to happen. We've been in quarantine for 40 days. How much time in 40 days you have spent with yourself? This is a question we have to ask ourselves. How many hours have you spent in 40 days with yourself? How many hours you spent with, doing beneficial things, of dhikr, of good things? That maybe this is why Allah is putting this thing for you to sit with your children and do a dhikr after Maghrib, to do some Quran with them, to do things. You have to make sense out of the situation that you're in. So no, you didn't choose this. Allah has chosen this for you, and there's wisdom in it. Go out and find the wisdom in it.
MashaAllah, Shaykh. Subhanallah, profound advice and knowledge for us to learn from that. Subhanallah. Shaykh, the next question is, you mentioned about opening your heart and we will get sick if we give it to the wrong people. How do we know if it's the right or wrong person when we are taught to have good opinions of Allah's creation? Sometimes it is difficult to see if the person is considered bad because we care.
Yeah. Shu'aib Abu Madyam, one of the great Gnostic, he said, دليل تخليتك صحبة المخلتين ودليل وحشتك أنسك بالمستوحشين. It's in one of his wisdom pieces. He said, the reason why you feel depressed is because you've been hanging around depressed people. The reason, so you have to figure out, if you are coming home and then you're feeling low energy, sad, depressed, you're hanging around sad and depressed people. If you're coming home and you wanna exercise and you wanna be healthy and you wanna eat healthy, you've been around healthy people. They're affecting you. If you came home and you're using foul language and you are listening to foul music, you've been around foul people. And this is why it is important to kind of monitor your own character, to see how you're feeling upbeat and joy. You've been around people who are sanguine and happy, and and that's why you're feeling. We affect each other, everybody. And I tell you something. There are people who are really huzn. They're like really always in a state of just sadness and depression, and they're just downer. They're just always like that. They're in a state of grief all the time. And there's a man I know in a community, and every time I see him, I feel like somebody is just like, I feel like somebody just pushing me inside, like I feel like suffocating inside. And I literally physically backstep from him, and because it really affects me. And the thing is that there are people like that you have to see. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he said ahasibu qabla an tuhasabu, he said, do an accounting of yourself. That doesn't mean that you do just the sins and this, what good I've done, what bad I've done. At the end of the night, when you go say, what did I do tonight? Like, I hanged around these people. What benefit? What was it? What are they talking about? Were they talking about sports all the time? Was there any talk of the religion? Was there any talk beneficial, or was it all in vain? If I was hanging out with somebody for 4 hours and I came home and it was all vain talk. He said, she said, you saw this movie, you saw this show, did you see so-and-so tweet? And nothing beneficial, right? You came home and said, oh my God, I wasted 4 hours with nothing. Then you come up from another gathering, when you sit with your teacher or somebody and you come home, 10 minutes, and you're like, my God, he said this, what an amazing idea. He said to do this. And then you're inspiring your family and doing good things. That's a companionship. So you have to make sure that you are controlling your life and you're not giving this open door. Your heart has an open window. It has an open window. Either light will come in or you put in darkness in there. And this is why it's important. Every foul word that we utter is like a file that will go into the hard drive. Every good word that you utter is like a file that goes to the hard drive. Now, how many good folders you have in your hard drive of the heart, how many bad folders you have, right? So now it gets to a point, if you keep putting bad folders and bad folders and bad folders, the hard drive will crash, right? And this is why a lot of people are they're walking, but they have dead hearts, spiritual dead hearts. And they're like animals. They have no compassion, they have no towards anything. And those are the people who just language foul, eating haram, action haram, eyes looking at the haram, ears listening to the haram. What do you expect from that person? That heart is going to be a dead heart. And this is why they can go and kill people and have no remorse. This is why they can go rob and rape and do all of those things and have no remorse, because their hearts are dead. So you have to control your heart to make sure, companion, al-maru ala dini khalili. The Prophet ﷺ said, it's a beautiful hadith, and everyone should take this hadith and make a motto of their life. They said, a person is in the religion of his friends. In other words, your friends not only will affect you mentally or physically or spiritually, they will affect your faith. They will change you become like them. So be careful about keeping the company of the wrong people.
MashaAllah, beautiful ways of teaching us to go about it. I think there's many details that you mentioned. I think we should reflect on it, paying attention to. Thank you, Sheikh, for that. The next question, I feel extremely anxious these days, especially the last 2 weeks. I've been dealing with this feeling of sadness and anxiety. I have this neighbor who has been playing extremely loud music, and as a neighbor, we are supposed to be united to report him, but it really bothers me, and I'm trying to understand it's best to focus on Allah. And I feel at the same time being anxious is a sign of certainty decreasing. How do I increase my certainty in Allah, especially in Ramadan, and not bother what people are doing around me? So how do I have that focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and realize Allah is in control?
Yeah, a good question. First of all, make dua for your neighbors. Make dua for that, and don't make dua against them, make dua for them. Make dua that Allah guide them. Make dua that Allah put the light in his heart. Make dua that Allah make him a better human being. Not that you're only safe, but all the other neighbors are safe. That when you move and you move on with your life, then other neighbors are safe when they come next to him. Or wherever he goes, other people are safe from him and his bad behavior. Number two, do 2 units of shukr prayer. That is not you doing that. What if Allah makes you like that? That gets those characteristics to you, that you're playing loud music and you're annoying the neighborhood. That Allah didn't make you that. Ya Allah, shukr, alhamdulillah, that you are giving me this, the common sense that I'm a compassionate person and I'm a kind person to my neighbors. This is very important, that when we see somebody in wrong, that we show our gratitude to Allah for the blessing that He has given us, that we're grateful to that. This is very important. Number 3 is the whole process of spirituality, especially during the month of Ramadan, is for you to have this. We talked about this, what the Naqshbandi says, khalwat dar anjaman, to have privacy in the loud places. That you're completely in solitude, even if you are in the middle of a party. That everybody's shouting, but you're in a solitude. That this is a station and everybody can achieve it. That those voices would just literally fade away. The more you concentrate on your dhikr, the more you concentrate on Allah, the more you concentrate on the prayer, and you just don't. And then you ask Allah, so Ya Allah, remove these voices from me. Ya Allah. And anxiety is real. Anxiety is real. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you make all your anxiety one anxiety, which is meeting Allah on the Day of Judgment, then Allah will remove all your anxiety from your life. So we
Allah.
have to make the anxiety about meeting Allah on that day, standing in front of Him and talking to, and that should be a merciful meeting. That, you know, Allah, inshallah, will forgive us, that you will be there, you will shed tears, and you will see the face of God, you will see the Prophet sallallahu. Just meeting Allah. If that's the anxiety is Day of Judgment, Allah will remove all of these anxieties from your life. But anxiety is about the future. It's not about the past. Grief is from the past. And this is a very good dua to do. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. This is a beautiful dua, the prophetic dua. Is also in the word of Latif ibn Haddad, that it should be read for those people who have anxiety at least 3 times in the morning, 3 in the evening. It's beautiful dua. Ya Allah, I seek refuge to you from the grief of the past and the anxieties of the future. And this is a beautiful dua, and from laziness and from debt to the people. And so there's a very comprehensive dua to do. But know that all of the anxieties we have is about future. Or what if this happened? What if that happened? What if this happened? Leave it all to Allah. It belongs. You don't have the future. You don't own it. None of us own the future, and we don't own the past. We've already released the past. It's done. It's dead. Yesterday is dead. Tomorrow is not here. We only have now. And if you concentrate on now and what you have and the blessing that Allah has given you, wallahi, you'll be the happiest person on this planet.
MashaAllah, Shaykh. Thank you very much for that. Subhanallah. So next question is someone.
So we take one more question if it's okay, because it's Maghrib time here. So inshallah, we can close.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure. Okay, this someone here, he said that he recently lost his loved one to the virus. And as much as he knows as a Muslim that life and death belongs to Allah,
yeah,
but at times he still feels weak and he cried. So is that a sign of his weaknesses on faith?
One of the tragedies of the modern Muslim is that we have made this religion in a way that, you know, people can't even show their emotions, you know, to shed tears. It is natural for people to shed tears and cry for somebody when they lose a loved one. It is natural, and there's nothing wrong with that in our religion. The Prophet ﷺ shed tears. He shed tears when, you know, he buried his children, right? He buried all his children except Bibi Fatima. The Prophet ﷺ, he shed tears, and people should shed tears. What's prohibited is when you start shouting and saying things against God. When the Arabs and some of the Persians, they used to do it, and they used to hit themselves really hard on their body and on their faces, and they say, why are you doing this to me? You took my, you know, those things are prohibited. But to shed tears and to cry, it means that your heart is alive. If your heart is dead, you're not going to have tears. It's only the sign of a dead heart that doesn't cry, right? And it's difficult. But those people, one of the things that people don't understand is the rank of the martyrs. The Muslims, if you go to Medina and you go visit Sayyid al-Shuhada, the master of all the Shuhada, Hamza radiallahu anh, right? And you go there and you smell that scent of paradise that comes from their grave, right? You say, it's one of the most magnificent scenes on the planet. Why? What is the barakah in that? Just land. There's no building. It's just great. It's just flat graves, right? It's the power of martyrdom, of shuhada. These people, and the Prophet said we should all wish to go as a shaheed. And this is why you can die as a shaheed even if you die in your bed. Allah can give you the rank of shahada if you desire it, right? These people who die in pandemic, they have the rank of a shaheed, of a martyr, right? And this is why when the people said, when they are not being washed, right? And they say, you know, some of the people in Europe and UK and here, they didn't allow them to be washed, do ghusl. You know what Rumi said? He said, one of the things that is najis, that is dirty, is blood. If there's a blood stain on your clothes, for the Hanafis, we can't pray. We have to wash it, right? Because it's najis. Blood is najis. If you have blood, we have to make wudu, right? But Rumi said, khun shahidan ra ze aab ura tarast. He said, water is pure, right? We wash blood with water and we purify it. He said, but the blood of the martyr purifies the water.
Allah.
He said, the blood of the martyr is so pure, it purifies the water. It's better than any water. He said, that's why you don't wash them. That's why. So for someone who died from corona, and we don't wish for anyone to die. Allah heal everyone who is suffering with this pandemic. May Allah remove this pandemic from every household, Muslims and human being. And may Allah make this a means that we understand the power of Allah and return to Him. But that rank of martyrdom in that they are getting is priceless. And on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, they will be laughing. Wallahi, they will be laughing. They will not be smiling, they'll be laughing out of joy, right? With the rank that they got. It is difficult for us, but can we take better care of them than Allah? This is the question we need to ask. Can we take better care of them if they were alive than Allah? They're in the care of God. And this is, that should just put tranquility in our hearts. That should remove all of the anxiety that they are in a better place than us, and they're in better care than any care in this world. You put the entire human being, they can't take care of a patient or of a sick man, of anyone, the way Allah and His angels do. So relax. Just let it go. They went to their Lord and they're happy. It is hard for us. Shed tears. We should shed tears, it's fine. Make dua, read Quran. All of that goes to them. They are in need of our dua. They don't need anything else. They're in need of our dua. And when you shed tears, those are the moments that your heart is broken. And those are the moments that the windows of acceptance is open. Make dua in that moment. Every time you shed tears, make dua in that moment, and that dua is accepted.
Allah. Yeah. Thank you, Shaykh. And
with this, we have,
with this, we have ended the live session with you. And we'd like to thank you for being on board with us for this. And I'm sure a lot of people who view this and will view this continuously will benefit from your teaching, guidance, and wisdom. Shaykh, before we end and we close it out, can you make a closing dua?
بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو السميع العليم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأن الله قد أحاط بكل شيء علما. Ya Allah, we ask you, we extend our hand in prayer because we have no one to ask except you. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahimeen. Ya Allah, we ask you to heal anyone who's going through any kind of pain, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, emotional pain. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahimeen, to remove it from their lives. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahimeen, those who are suffering with this sickness, with this illness or any type of illness, Ya Allah, especially from this coronavirus, Ya Allah, remove it from their bodies, Ya Allah, and give them healing because you are the healer, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahimeen. Ya Allah, anyone is struggling financially, Ya Allah, anyone is struggling with any type of trials and tribulation in their household, Ya Allah, remove it from their household, Ya Allah, and bring joy and happiness and sakina and tranquility into the homes of all of the people who are suffering right now. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim. Make it easy for the people around the world, especially our brothers and sisters in India, Ya Allah, and in Kashmir, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim. And all over the world, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim. Allahumma yassir wa la tu'assir, Ya Allah, make it easy and not hard. Ya Allah, make us go through this difficult time, Ya Allah, with ease, Ya Allah, because you, Allah, Ya Allah, with you, everything is easy, Ya Allah. Fa'alun lima yurid, Ya Allah, you can do whatever you want, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim. Remove this pandemic from the world and make us from amongst the salihin wa salihat. Make us amongst the people that you will be pleased with on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is proud of us, inshallah wa ta'ala. Wa akhir da'wana wa alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ta'ala ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My love and my salam to all of Singapore and all of the brothers and sisters who have been helping you set this up and the station and inshallah we hope to see you in Singapore.
Yes, we hope to
inshallah
see you
once
again,
things
inshallah.
calm down, inshallah we will visit, inshallah. Take
Inshallah,
care.
see you again.
Assalamu alaikum, inshallah. We'll see you, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right.
Woohoo! Woohoo!